Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. We've got several interesting stories to go over today. Cryin Chuck Schumer made some inflammatory remarks against two justices of the U.S. Supreme Court. President Trump has ordered federal funding to be withheld from sanctuary cities after a federal court ruled last week that we can go ahead and do that now. Elizabeth Warren has dropped out of the Democratic running for president, perhaps a little too late for Bernie Sanders after he lost all of those states on Super Tuesday. And finally, a FISA court has barred the FBI officials involved in the Carter Page spy warrants from seeking future surveillance. Actually, this is really, really good news, guys. So we're going to get into all of these things and more, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. You know, the biggest fear people have in situations like the one we're in now with the stock market is not actually losing money. You'd be surprised. The biggest fear is losing the status with their family and friends, the ones who have always looked up to you. To be working at the checkout of the local supermarket when all your old friends are off playing golf or on a vacation like you used to be is soul-destroying. And gold has risen, and you might have ignored it. And if you did, you lost out. Well, this has been in the cards for a while now, and this bull market in gold actually started back in 2015. But if you didn't take action before, it's not too late. Putting some precious metals into an IRA or 401k rollover gives you a safety net against anything bad that's coming. Or maybe you have some extra cash sitting in the bank, making less than 0.5%, and you've been meaning to move it into something different. Get some gold or silver in your hands. And Noble Gold has helped thousands of clients just like you. You can call them now at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347, or hit the link below and see how they can help you. And tell them Red Pill 78 sent you. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today, we are talking about Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer was speaking at a protest yesterday in regards to some things that might happen in the Supreme Court. And he made some really inflammatory remarks about Justices Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. Now, he offered a weak apology today. Mitch McConnell took him to task on the floor of the Senate. And he said, "In no way was I making a threat." Well, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell obviously thought differently. And this morning, he addressed the statements that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer made yesterday in regards to Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. Now, outside at this protest, Schumer made these remarks, and I think that anybody who heard them heard the words that he stated loud and clear. Let's go ahead and take a listen to a clip from Fox News along with Chuck Schumer's statement.
Senator Chuck Schumer, the Democratic Minority Leader, standing outside the Supreme Court today and calling out the court's two newest justices.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
I don't know about you guys, but I think that sounded like a bit of a threat that was directed directly at two Supreme Court justices. Now, Supreme Court Justice John Roberts has actually released a statement. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
That prompting a response from Chief Justice John Roberts. Quote, "Justices know the criticism comes with the territory, but threatening statements of this sort from the highest levels of government are not only inappropriate, they are dangerous. All members of the court will continue to do their job without fear or favor from whatever quarter." Now, tonight, a spokesperson for Schumer said his comments, quote, were a reference to the political price Senate Republicans will pay for putting these justices on the court, and a warning that the justices will unleash a major grassroots movement on the issue of reproductive rights against the decision.
So Chuck Schumer making threats against two Supreme Court justices and then trying to gloss over it after the fact once he realizes that he does not have the protection of making these comments under the banner of Congress. He was out on the streets, and he clearly made threatening statements to two Supreme Court justices. Now, after getting scolded by Senator McConnell on the floor of the Senate, Chuck had some excuses, and he said that he should have chosen his words more carefully, but that it was taken out of context or it wasn't meant in the way that it came out. Well, he is a sitting U.S. senator, and I would say that he has the responsibility to watch his mouth when he's out there on the street, especially fanning the flames of such a divisive issue. All right, now, hat tip to Methods for sending this over yesterday. Catherine Herridge of CBS has a tweet here that says, a National Archives letter to Senator Ron Johnson and Chuck Grassley says that more than 10,000 pages may be responsive to their Ukraine investigations. Senator Johnson emphasized to CBS News investigations that it began months ago. Many elements are now coming together, and it's not solely focused on the Bidens. Now, this is in regards to a request for records in regards to the Ukraine situation. Now, this tells me that this Ukraine business could be the keystone to everything. And with over 10,000 pages, we are looking at years and years of documents here. It's also very telling that it's not only about the Bidens. This means that it spanned far and wide throughout the former administration, and I guarantee you many, many people are very nervous about this situation right now. So it's no wonder that everything having to do with Ukraine was squashed and shoved under the rug, because it shows that everybody's hands are dirty. So excellent stuff here. Now, from the information provided by Grassley and Johnson, we clearly have the indication that this scandal involving Burisma goes far beyond the Bidens. So it's always seemed a little fishy to me that Mitt Romney was not interested in investigating this corruption when there was such clear-cut evidence. And Mitt Romney spoke out today, again, saying it appears political. Now, the reason being just might be because his top advisor actually sat on the board of Burisma with none other than Hunter Biden. Now, Mitt Romney, a.k.a. Pierre Delecto, today pushed back on the burgeoning probe into Burisma, asserting that GOP senators' investigation into the Biden-Ukraine corruption appears political. While Senator Johnson told reporters on Wednesday that Senate Republicans are entering a new phase of their investigation into Joe and Hunter and their ties to a corrupt Ukrainian natural gas company, that being Burisma. Now, Senator Johnson said he will likely release an interim report within the next month or two about his committee's probe into the Biden crime family. He said these are questions that Joe Biden has not adequately answered, Ron Johnson said. And if I were a Democrat primary voter, I'd want these questions satisfactorily answered before I cast my final vote. I think that's a fair thing to say. Romney doesn't want any investigation into Burisma, despite overwhelming evidence of a massive money laundering scheme. Information and evidence given to us in spades by Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor and the president's lawyer. So if you had to guess, why would you think that Mitt Romney would defend the Bidens and their involvement in Burisma? Well, I'll give you a big hint. It's because his top advisor, Joseph Cofer Black, actually joined the board of Burisma Holdings while Hunter Biden was serving on the board. Now, he was quoted today saying there's no question that the appearance of looking into Burisma and Hunter Biden appears political. We also have a lot of work to do on matters that are not related to Burisma. We probably ought to focus on these things. Now, given all of the information that Rudy Giuliani has put forward in regards to this money laundering scheme, in regards to this corruption taking place in Ukraine and with Burisma, and given all of the reporting on this issue over the last several years, I would say, and I think any reasonable person would say, that it's pretty obvious that this is not political. This is about rooting out corruption. This is about getting our elected officials to do what's right and to stop handing out sweetheart positions to people in their family just because they're an elected official, and it will allow them to buy influence and buy their way into the millionaires club. Now, Mitt Romney makes me wonder how many bank account transfers he has gotten as a result of his proximity to Burisma, and it makes me wonder what Joseph Cofer Black might have on Mitt Romney so that Romney would want to continue to protect him. I think this goes deeper than just Joseph Cofer Black. I think that Mitt Romney's crimes are about to be revealed as well. And I think that with the information we've already gotten about this case, I think that it is so obvious that it is anything but political, and it is our duty as Americans to root out this corruption and get to the bottom of everything and everyone who was involved. All right, guys, now finally, something we have been hoping for the last 3 years. President Trump is now withholding federal funding from sanctuary cities. On Thursday, he said his administration is about to begin withholding funding from self-described sanctuary cities after we had that federal court ruling last week saying that he could do so. Now, from a tweet by the president, As per recent federal court ruling, the federal government will be withholding funds from sanctuary cities. They should change their status and go non-sanctuary. Do not protect criminals. Now, the case was in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals in Manhattan, and the ruling was on February 26th, that the Department of Justice could withhold funding from cities and states that refuse to cooperate with the Trump administration's crackdown on undocumented migrants. The three-judge panel found Congress had delegated authority to the Attorney General to set conditions on the federal grant program it had created, called the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. The decision came after multiple courts had ruled against the administration on the issue, saying it lacked the authority to impose immigration-related conditions on certain funding, an absolutely ridiculous assertion, seeing as how the president is the commander-in-chief of the United States of America. Now, a group of 7 states and New York City sued the DOJ in 2017 after then Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced that the agency would start withholding funds from local governments if they refused to share information on undocumented migrants and provide jail access to federal authorities investigating the inmates' immigration status. Overall, this spells really bad news for the far-left lunatics who are in charge of many big cities in this country. In fact, the Center for Immigration Studies has put together a map that shows all of these places that are now SOL. Let's take a closer look at the map. All right, so each of these dots right here is a sanctuary city. This is one of the places that will very soon be hit by the federal funding withholding, and you can see it is in some concentrated areas. We've got some in the Midwest spanning across, many over here on the West Coast, many on the East Coast, and even down here into the Gulf of Mexico. But very, very good news. This is a clear indication to the governments of these cities that they need to start protecting the rights of legal and naturalized American citizens, not the people who come here illegally and who commit crimes and are then either just completely let go or given a slap on the wrist because they are simply sanctuary status. This is good news for America. This is good news for Americans. This is great news for the return of the rule of law. All right, after her poor showing on Super Tuesday this week, Elizabeth Warren has dropped out of the race, effective this morning. She gave a little speech from her driveway, it looks like. You know, Elizabeth Warren likes to pretend that she's folksy, and she tried to force back tears during the dropout speech, but it really did not look genuine. It looked like she was faking it. Now, she announced this morning that she was suspending her campaign after this dismal Super Tuesday she just went through. And she even lost Massachusetts. That was probably the funniest part about it. She placed third in her home state of Massachusetts behind Bernie Sanders and behind Joe Biden. One of them was a disillusioned old man who's not sure where he is, and the second is a committed Marxist who honeymooned in the Soviet Union. It was a rough week, to say the least. She spoke to reporters this morning, and look at this. They actually used Method's tweets here on the Gateway Pundit. Let's go ahead and listen to the clips.
For all those people who already have invested so many hours and so much of their heart, and the phone calls and the door knocks and the coming to the office and help clean things up and keep it all going, and thinking about all those pinky promises. You know, I take those pinky promises seriously. So those are the things I needed to think through, and how we make all those pieces work at least as best we can for everyone. And one last thing. It's about all the people who are affected by all the issues I've talked about.
That just does not seem genuine to me. And what was that? Was that a werewolf or something in the background? All right, and Methods ends by saying it was inevitable. Now, we knew that Elizabeth Warren had absolutely zero chance of gaining this office of the president. Now, it had nothing to do with the things that she likes to point to, and it had everything to do with her policies. Her policies are just bad. They're bad for America. They are bad for the citizens of this country. And I would argue they're even bad for Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren is one of those people that she would take money from, except something tells me she would probably weasel out of that. But another one bites the dust. Glad to have you out, Elizabeth Warren, and the field narrows yet again. All right, last night, POTUS gave a special interview to Sean Hannity on his program, and Method's got a clip here of the president talking about the fake news and all of the injustices that have been cast upon him in the time he's been in office, and even before that, really, when you go back. As soon as he announced he was running, they were out for blood. Now, let's go ahead and take a listen to this clip, and the president has some interesting things to say.
It has, but they knew it was wrong, and they knew they were wrong. And the whole thing, that's why I call it the fake news, for that and many other reasons. But it is fake news. So much of it is fake, and knowingly fake. And they knew that was wrong. They knew the first day it should have never happened. But I went through it, I did it, and think of it, after millions, I spent millions and millions of dollars, and at the end, they had unlimited resources, no collusion. Somebody said, you're the cleanest person in the country, but it was a disgrace, and a lot of people were hurt, and hurt badly. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens going forward.
So he ends by saying, let's see what happens going forward. Yet another bit of foreshadowing with the president talking about things to come in regards to the people who plotted against him, in regards to the deep state in the government, the people that are still working against him to try and unseat him, and the people who clearly broke the law. He says they knew from the very beginning exactly what they were doing. Now, I like that President Trump made these comments last night, because today we actually had a bit of a return on that promise in regards to the FISA court. Let's take a look at another article. Well, how quickly promises made, promises kept. The FISA court has now barred the FBI officials involved in the Carter Page spy warrants from seeking future surveillance. Now, it wasn't just the FBI. It was the DOJ, and it was also officials within the FBI who were involved in the wiretapping of President Trump's former campaign advisor, Carter Page. Now, all of them have been barred from seeking future surveillance, and this is on behalf of presiding FISA Judge James Boasberg. He issued this decision on Wednesday in a 19-page order. Now, from that order, he says there is little doubt that the government breached its duty of candor to the court with respect to those applications. FBI personnel under disciplinary review in relation to their work on FISA applications accordingly should not participate in drafting, verifying, reviewing, or submitting such applications to the court while that review is pending. The same prohibition applies to any DOJ attorney under disciplinary review, as well as any DOJ or FBI personnel who are the subject of a criminal referral related to their work on FISA applications. So that takes everyone involved in the SpyGate scandal off the table in terms of seeking new FISA warrants or surveillance on any other people. Now, how can we forget? Horowitz released his FISA report back in December, revealing that the FBI made 17 significant errors and omissions when seeking those wiretaps on Carter Page. Now, in total, the appendix to Horowitz's report identified about 51 Woods procedures violations by Comey's FBI. Now, the Woods procedures were designed to protect American citizens to ensure accuracy with regard to the facts supporting probable cause after recurring abuses where the FBI presented inaccurate information to the FISC. Now, Kevin Kleinsmith, the FBI lawyer and FBI counterintelligence investigator Stephen Sama, recently identified as Case Agent 1, mentioned in Horowitz's report, are likely included in that group of officials who are banned from seeking surveillance matters. Kevin Kleinsmith is currently under criminal investigation by none other than John Durham because he altered a document to say that Carter Page was not a source for the clowns in America when we all know that he was. Stephen Sama did not tell the FISA court that Carter Page had a prior relationship with the clowns, and he also withheld exculpatory information showing that there was no reason for them to be surveilling Carter Page. This order from Judge Boasberg does not go far enough, though. He could have done more. Those FBI and DOJ officials who illegally obtained the wiretaps on Carter Page should not only be banned from seeking surveillance, but they should be prosecuted and imprisoned. Now, although that is not a subject for Judge Boasberg to preside over, that would be something that John Durham is going to put to a different type of court. I think that we are still going to see these people get the punishment they deserve. This is not a matter that has concluded. And if you'll remember the other day when we had the clip from Matthew Whitaker, he said that the work done by Durham was going to be exhaustive, complete, and thorough, and it's going to take as long as it takes to build the best possible case. So don't give up just yet. These people are still on their way to the court. All right, guys, every day I see just a little bit more progress being made. I think the closer we get to November 2020, the better off we're going to be as a country. We've got a major win with sanctuary cities, we've got a major win happening with the Burisma investigation, and we've got a major win with the FISA court. These people who were involved in SpyGate and trying to overthrow the president are no longer involved to be involved in these types of surveillance activities. And that means that honest FBI and DOJ officials are going to be the ones requesting these types of warrants, and I sure hope that these people who have criminal referrals against them are going to end up getting exactly what they deserve. All right, guys, that's all that I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. Just one more thing. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has taken the time to support this channel. If you'd like to see some ways that you can support the channel, you can always check the show notes in the pinned comment of this video below. Whether you like, whether you share, whether you make sure that your notifications are on, any way that you support this channel means so much to me. I could not be doing this without you, and I could not do it without your help. Without people like you, this channel would not exist, so thank you so much to everyone for all of their many means of support. Don't forget to check out the merchandise store that is also in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys next time.